For those who have just joined us, welcome once again to our COVID and family well-being session, which is the last one in this series. So now I would request my speakers to please introduce yourself a bit briefly so that the viewers have a better understanding of where you are coming from. I will start with Shabir Bhai Kalfan. Shabir Bhai, please.
Thank you very much, Shamabai. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. As Shamabai introduced me, Shabir Kalfan, Chair of CBG under Africa Federation, psychotherapist by profession, CEO of Africa and NGO fighting with stigma around mental health and creating awareness around well-being. Some other accreditation that I have is I'm a life coach using NPL, and I also use NLP for training teachers and people at school. My passion is human behaviors and studying human models and behaviors, how human being behaves at different circumstances and environments. Thank you.
Thank you, Shabir Bhai. Now I will go to Sajida Bhai.
Thank you, Shama Bhai. Assalamu alaikum, everybody, and good evening. My name is Sajida Fayaz Jaffer, and I'm professionally a teacher and counselor and also a special needs supporter. And I'm working currently at Hosseini Madrasa Girls section, and I'm a counselor there, and I support the children who are not actually special needs, but they need the learning support. So I support them and work with the teachers. And I've also done Fikra Afia, the mental health first aider, and mentoring children. I work also with the teachers in madrasa, and LPL and leadership, and also facilitation. So currently in Hosseini Madrasa. Thank you.
Thank you, Sajda Bhai. Hasnain?
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Hasnain Muhammad Sherali. I am the COO of Africa Federation, as Shamabai mentioned. I have a bachelor's in business. Still have a long way to go, a list of accomplishments compared to Sajda Bhai, Shabir Bhai, my compatriots on the panel. Apart from providing my views, I'm looking forward to learn as well a lot. I've had the opportunity to serve the community at various levels, and I look forward to do the same throughout the rest of my life as well. Thank you, Shamabai.
Inshallah. Thank you so much, Hasnain. Now, finally, Sophia Bhai.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Sophia Barani here. Like Shamabai introduced me. Besides that, I work with one of the large youth bodies in the community, the Development Society. I'm a patron. I work at the madrasa as a relief teacher, and I am also part of the CBG capacity building group under the AFED in the facilitators team. Besides that, I'm a homemaker, a wife, a daughter, and I'm going to be a mother, and I'm going to be a mother-in-law.
Inshallah, inshallah. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So let's start our session. I'm going to start with Shabir Bhai. Shabir Bhai, you have lived most of your life in Bukoba, small town, moved to Dar, and been recently back to Bukoba during this crisis to be with your brother and the family. So basically in an extended family. So my question to you is, how has it been first back there, and how has it been together, staying together and facing this crisis together?
Thank you, Shamabai. Okay. I'm really blessed to have been born and been brought up in the family of 25 people in one house. And actually the history that I hear from my dad and mom, there was a time when there were 40 in the house. So yes, it has been really a closely knitted family that I belong to. And looking at this crisis of COVID or any other crisis, I would just say a family is basically a system, yeah, whereby individual entities work together for a greater whole, you know, and family is like a system. It's a system basically. So any system has got two threats. One could be internal and one could be external. And when we talk of COVID, it's an external threat. And what happens during that time? Obviously, the internal part joined together. That's why I flew all the way from Dar to Bukoba, because that's my origin, that's where I belong, that's my source, that's my strength. So what happened during the COVID is basically the cohesion was greater, not only with my family that is in Bukoba, but even family that is outside. So there was more bonding, which maybe over the time, because of somehow due to the need of the world, we have been, I would say I've become a human doing rather than human being in many parts. So it was autopilot mode. But this COVID really was a blessing in disguise because it brought me back to my core values. We reconnected. Strength-wise, it has been wonderful. I see some people talking of loneliness, you know, during COVID or lockdowns or something. There was nothing like that. There was nothing like that here because it was more of a togetherness. It was a fun. It was staying together. There is support. Whenever you are low, somebody is there. And even little joy becomes big because it's shared. You know, so you are laughing and then the third person, what are you laughing about? And then they join in and then, you know, it's like contagious. So it has really been a blessing as an extended family to overcome this together. Not only that, looking at spirituality, we could have a bigger jamaats, you know. At our own home, we had a bigger jamaat than 2 or 3 people. So obviously sawabs were more. So it has been really a blessing to be here and to overcome this. And it has actually rejuvenated me. I wouldn't say there hasn't been challenges. Obviously, like personal space, which we are used to, and sometimes you don't get noticed or included in some of the decision, especially when I have my elder brother. So he's the boss of the family, he's the father. So he decides for us some of the decision. But then it is all for betterment, you know, so there is a lead there. So to me, honestly, it has been a blessing in disguise, reconnecting, rejuvenating, and overcoming this challenge was very simple. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, it's so nice to hear that. And actually, I've heard a lot of people saying the same thing, that Ramzan, it was so nice to be reciting together in the house instead of everybody rushing to the mosque and not knowing where everybody is now. It's like reciting spiritually. It has been very good, Alhamdulillah. You were talking about, yes, there are challenges. I can imagine having different personalities being together. And so how did you, as a family, manage that? And
okay, so as I earlier said, a system is made up of individual units, and those individual units have their identity. So if we take it to the human context, they have their values, they have their ways of living, and humans are habituated animals. Yeah, we are habituals anymore. So once I have a habit, and then there's interference, it's not very comfortable. So obviously there are points where there has been conflict. However, I would say to me, contrary to, I'm sorry to say, but typical belief that conflicts are unhealthy, I would say conflicts are quite healthy because they actually show you the other way around it. They make you self-aware, and then there is better decision at the end. So it has been, yes, it's not like there is no difference of opinions. There has been difference of opinion, but then you see the other side of coin, you see. So to me, I would say conflicts are good actually, provided they are solved in amicable way, you know, whereby everybody is working halfway, and you know. But otherwise, it has been seeing myself because so much feedback I realized, which I got within these 2 months, which maybe I missed out there because I don't have anybody to give me feedback that easy, or some places where I needed space, and it was challenging because you know me, I'm quite an introvert, and I do need my space to recharge. But it has been fun because what wakes you up rather than leaving you alone is more energizing. It's something fun, you know. So a child would come, my niece would just come, Chachu, let's do this. And it's like, oh, I just wanted to read a book. Okay, let's do this. you know. So it has been fun. And coming the conflict is, I would say, we all go through conflicts. We are human, and it's just about having adult conversation. So talk of the behavior rather than personality. That would be my solution to conflict. Don't
Okay.
judge the person by, don't label them with the behavior. Talk of the behavior that you did this was not acceptable, or I felt this, rather
Yes.
than you are this. And the other thing, the greatest learning has been the active listening, because most of the conflicts are caused because of miscommunication. What you say and what I hear are two different things. If I do active listening, then there is no point.
Thank you so much for that. Thank you. So I really liked what you said about conflict is healthy. It reminds me of the session that we had with Moze Appa, and she said, as long as there is conflict, it's good, because then people are talking. It's when the people don't talk, don't communicate, then you have a problem.
Yes.
So thank you so much for that. Sajida Bhai, if I come back to you, your scenario is a bit different. Though you are staying in an extended family, you are working from home. However, your spouse and son are in the medical field, and they have to go to work, be in contact with other people. That's part of their job, and that's frontliners. So how do you feel about that? Because I know that there is always the worry about our relatives going out, our family members going out, being exposed. So how has it been for you? How do you feel about it? Or what adjustment have you made as a family to make sure everybody is safe and everybody is okay?
Thank you, Shamabai. Yes, it was scary and stressful, because we're always worried that, and the way you hear how it was coming, how the wave was coming to Dar es Salaam, so it was scary. But eventually, as staying in a family, extended family, so there were decisions made collectively, and they also say that we are going to take measures, precautions, what they're going to do in the clinic, in their work, how they're going to work, what precautions they will take, because even they have staffs, so they have to also look how they need to take precautions, and they worked upon it, and they took precautions. However, at home, yes, my in-laws were worried also.
Yes.
Many times they would say, just close down. They are worried.
Yes.
But then my
Yes.
husband said, no, we are taking precautions. And even we all know that work was even low, like the business had all gone down. So eventually, even in the clinics, hospitals, everything was quite low. And so they took their precautions, while at home, we all decided that we all made a collective decision that when they come home, they know that they have to take their precautions, like, go to change, go to shower, sanitize, and, everything should be clean. And yes, they were also taking distance especially from my in-laws, because my father-in-law and my mother-in-law, so they were taking distance, and there was social distancing, and precautions were also taken in the house that everybody had to follow. So it was hard in the beginning, because we were adopting a new habit now in the house. But eventually everyone got used to it and followed it, and alhamdulillah, we passed it. So it went well.
Alhamdulillah. So I like the way, like to say that the decision were made collectively. So there is more buy-in, like Shabir said. If there is communication, people, you sit together, you talk about it, listen to each other, everybody's point of view is shared. Thank you so much for that. I believe you have a son also who is stranded in Canada, had not been able to come for holidays. So how do you feel about that?
Was sad in the beginning that he was not coming, especially when it was my Ramzan, that's the time when you want all the family to be together. But there was one decision we all had to make together, that it's for his safety that let him be there. And we also explained him, and he himself told us, it's better I stay here And once everything goes back to normal or goes down, then he can come back. And it worked out. It was, you know, mother is always soft-hearted. So yes, I would really feel down sometimes, but thinking on the opposite side, the positive side, I was like, no, he's better off there, and inshallah he will come back. So we did it.
Inshallah. So communication, collective decision, positivity has helped. So I'm going to go to Brother Hasnain. What Sajida said, many families have their relatives, children who are stuck outside different countries because of the lockdown or because of flights not being available. And I believe, Hasnain, that you have been in the States since March. You went there for a wedding, and unfortunately, you are stranded there and not able to come back. So if I had to ask the other side of it, how have you tackled this situation? Been away from home, your work, although you are with your family, although you are staying with your sister and her family, still being away from home. How has it been for you? Hasnain? I can't hear.
Okay, sorry, I was on mute at that time. Thank you, Shamabai, for that question. So, as you mentioned, I've been in the US for the past 3 months now. It's coming to close to 3 months, and it was exciting in the beginning when we came because it was for a wedding. Although it was COVID time, and we had planned in a manner whereby we wanted to get back as soon as possible. But having been in this situation and having appreciation for your own home during this situation, I mean, I realize how important your own is at this time. It's not the best situation being away from home. I mean, apa yang kewai se potanu I potanu, kasi jauh panhoi potanu I potanu che. So first few weeks here were really nice. Yeah, we were meeting with a lot of family, marriage. We went to a few different cities, social distancing and everything, keeping safe. But as time goes by, you start realizing the importance of your own home, your own city, your own place, your own comfort zone. And I feel like I'm grateful right now that I am in a place whereby I can still call this home with my sister being next to me, and it's not a place whereby I'm in a strange lane among strangers. So I'm grateful that I'm in this situation. But I know of people who are stuck in places whereby they don't have anyone around them, no family, no friends, no one around them, and it becomes really difficult just to connect with people on the virtual level. So it's really important to keep that connection all the time with family, and being away from home is not always the best. So the uncertainty is always killing you at times. I mean, the frustration builds because of the uncertainty, because you don't know what's happening, how it's going. But Alhamdulillah, I can say for me, my side, Alhamdulillah, it's been in a situation whereby I cannot complain because I've been safe more than to say that I'm stuck here.
Okay, okay. So if you could help us with what are your coping mechanism when you feel frustrated, uncertainty is there, frustration is there, and like you said, home is home.
Definitely.
Though your family is there, but I know that your mother is here. Your other brother and family are in Canada. So, what coping mechanism are you are helping you basically?
So I think first and foremost, it's important to hold on to faith. I mean, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Islam has kept for so many avenues that we can be able to give out, let go of the stresses that we have all towards Him. But in today's day and life, we have so many different ways whereby we can cope with all the different stresses we have. Number one that I'm grateful for is my daughter. You see her face and she's just smiling sometimes, and everything just flies away.
Okay.
But we being with family around here, we have 3 kids in the house, so we're always busy with kids. So you don't feel the stress. And when it does come, communication is very important with your partner, with your family, those you're living with in the same house, and especially with those your close relatives who are not with you. You need to maintain that communication.
Okay.
I try and speak to my brother as often as I can. I try and speak to my mother at least once a day. So we talk to each other. We know where we stand, even if it's just hi, hello. That helps a lot to give us a step forward to the next day. Apart from that, the coping mechanisms that I've been using, the internet has been a godsend. You have YouTube, you have Netflix, uh, whatever you need, you have there. So, I mean, we wouldn't be able to do this without the internet right now. I feel that the streaming services have been a godsend for everyone at this time.
Thank you so much. So again, once again, being grateful, faith, communication, being in touch with your close one, loved ones. Thank you so much for that Husnain. Sophie Bai, I know the subject that I'm going to take up just now is a bit painful, but I would really appreciate your input. Before your father passed away, he was in and out of hospitals a lot of times. And these days, as soon as you hear hospital, and fear and anxiety just comes. You can't help it. You don't know whether you should not go, or should not go to hospital. And no matter what, fear, anxiety is there. More people are dying, like they say, from fear than the disease itself. So you as a family, how did you manage to look after your father and yet keep these emotions in check?
Thank you. Thank you, Shamabai, for having me on the panel. I appreciate it. And for me to be able to share my experience, I won't say that this is the formula for everyone, but it is something that helped me and my family to sail through. And I wish that this could be a ray of hope for somebody out there.
Thank you.
Let's face it, although I say sail us through, I won't even lie that, but it was extremely difficult for everyone. The way, let's face it, I mean, tending a patient with COVID restrictions is a massive test. It's something that's just horrifying. You won't be able to tend to a patient to your satisfaction. It's something like the pandemic has really dramatically altered our lives, not just our lives, even it has hijacked our deaths and our death rituals. So when so all these feelings, it wasn't just an apprehension on our side, but on us as family on the other side of isolation, but it was also a lot of apprehension on the patient, the one who's critically ill.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, they're faced with all these thoughts. There was a lot of fear, a lot of anxiety, a lot of denial, maybe. Okay. So we didn't only have to manage our ends, we also have to manage him. Like, we can only provide reassurance and realistically, give words of it's okay.
Yes.
If you're looking at the patient, you can feel what they feel, but with isolation, I mean, you don't have any of that data. You just have to rely on what you can see. We did have virtual communication, which I'm very, very thankful for, because it was over 2 weeks of total isolation. The situation was such that we were basically, I mean, frankly speaking, it was just a waiting game. Like, a day survived, a day added, Alhamdulillah. Okay.
Yes.
So despite all of this, we did find ways to cope. It was possible, but at some point we just ran out of luck, and the unfortunate call came. So whilst we were doing that, we did face with a couple of false alarms, and um, it seemed like the longest short time to wake up, and to wake up to a phone would ring and you would say, okay, you just imagine the worst that's going
Yes.
to happen. So it was even scary to take a call from family.
Yes.
But we sailed through a couple of false alarms and scares, like I said, and every time that survivor was, it gave hope. We sailed through this total isolation period over 2 weeks, like I said, and it's very natural to face that anxiety. But okay, so while this was happening, so we did. I'll share 3 steps that we did as family. First of all, we were able to ease up family communication and to give them I mean, if everybody is involved, it's just total chaos. So we
Yeah.
set up, we shortlisted people who can act as few representatives as family. We set up a group chat,
Okay.
the treatment group chat, where all who were accessible would be those who were contributive in a way that they had their strengths.
Okay.
That they had their own strengths. So, um, for example, so I was on board. So I'm a pharmacist, my profession, and so I would keep track on the medications and to be able to assimilate that medical information into what's understandable to the family, and be able
Okay.
to guide, okay, do this or ask this or things like that. And then there was also my oldest nephew who took up on behalf of the family the decision making, because there was a lot of instant decision making, a lot of following up to be done.
Okay.
There was my sister-in-law, my youngest sister-in-law, who is there by her availability. I mean, we call her a superhero. Like, she's there. And plus, she had a very special connection with my dad. So
Okay.
she was there. Similarly, my son was like, so for me, it was, and my other nephew. So for me, it was really, really texting to be on the phone. Like, it was like an alarm, like all the time, red alert all the time. So I would
Okay.
not look at my phone, but if there was anything that needed uh, urgent attention, my
Okay.
son was working from home, so he would come and alert me. Okay, this is what's happening in the chat. Are you aware? So that was like that. We managed the group chat. So simple decisions were made here on behalf of family, and then the family group was alerted, uh, properly, regularly. So in this, we set up. So basically, we had to screen out what's possible and what's not possible, and not to dwell on what's not possible, but instead, divert our attention to what's possible.
Okay.
Okay. So
Okay.
so the family would. So we set up a routine on
Okay.
who would call him, how long to be able to call, because talking was very difficult. We didn't
Yeah.
want to exhaust the person who was already, on oxygen, and so he was able to read and listen audio visual. So as family, we were encouraging. So we converted the isolation into interaction. Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful.
So up to the great grandchildren were given time to send positive notes and videos, and just to bring up that hope, and you know convert those dark pessimism into positivity. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
And to be able to tell that, not to be stuck at that, to be able to tell him remotely to sort of fight
Okay.
it, because he was totally alone. To
Yeah.
fight, to bring in him the desire to recuperate, and not to withdraw. And we were very fortunate. I would like really thank God that we were very fortunate. We pulled through this total isolation period, and then we moved him into another hospital where one of us was accessible. So again, we only had access to, we kept the access very minimal because we were the ones who were exposed. We didn't want to expose any more people.
Okay.
And yeah, so together with all this social distancing, being mindful of hygiene, yeah, all of this. So that's how we communicated. And we did impart, because I remember a conversation where we were looking very hopeless, and my dad said, "You guys are trying your best."
Thank you
So he
so much.
did. So despite the distancing, he did see that we were reaching out.
Thank you so much, Sophia, for this tips like group chat, change the isolation to interaction and bring that positivity. I'm sure this will really help people who are in this situation, and they can definitely use that. The other question that I had for you, Sophia Bai, is that unfortunately the father passed away. And with all the restrictions that we have just now about how many people to attend the funeral, and not able to go to the bereaved family's house to go and give our respects, give our condolences. So it's become quite, even the family now becomes isolated, and so many families are now facing that position that they have that in the family, but nobody can attend the funeral, nobody can go and pay their respects. So how did you manage as a family to go through this difficult period? If you can please enlighten us.
Yeah, sure. So once he was identified with COVID, we were sort of prepared for the unexpected expected. So we knew this was going to take place, but however much, death is death. As much as prepared you are, when it hits you on the face of reality, it's just too hard. So again, we look at the pessimism into positivity. So
Okay.
my dad missed the communal funeral rites, where we as people, as family, meet people from, you know, besides family, who can console us. Because within family, everybody is so hurt in the initial time. So there is really no consolation to give, you know. So within family, and we are always looking out for that, you know, that those words of which we missed. But again, putting it into a positive note, it was perhaps, it was something I would not want to switch with anything else, because
Okay.
we were totally surrounded at his deathbed. It was right from his grandchild to his granddaughters-in-law, to his grandsons, his daughters-in-law, his sons-in-law, like all of us, we were there. Despite a few of our prominent member of our families are also not here on site in there. So we were there at his, I mean, after he passed away, we were totally involved in recitation. We were trying to sort of comprehend what happened, because we brought him home. I mean, we saw some hope in his improved, yeah. But it was basically he just came to die at home, probably. So we looked at that as a blessing,
Okay.
that he came home to pass away. I mean, it was that, it was a funeral rites made at home, you know, made in home. So yeah, we took solace into that. I think that was a huge part of, you know, like they say, sabr and shukr, like they become your two wings to fly on. So it was something like that.
Alhamdulillah.
Something like that, yeah.
Thank you
Alhamdulillah.
so much. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sophia Bai. May Allah rest his soul in peace, inshallah. Uh, I'm also conscious of the time, and I would really like some questions from our viewers. So may I request all the panelists to give one message that to our viewers on how to cope with hope before we start the questions. So I'm going to ask Hasnain Bhai if you can please give that message to our viewers.
Okay, so keeping in line with family, and I think this can go along everywhere. I'd like to thank my Malim Shanibas Jesa, from whom I learned this. He taught us the 3 C's to keep together when we are working on anything, or it's communication, cooperation, and coordination. These 3 things put in line wherever it is, in whatever task you want to do with the family, work. I think this will help us very well. And the first C, which is communication, is the most important one, I feel. So that's the message I'll leave with everyone.
Thank you so much, Hasnain Bhai. Communication, cooperation, and coordination. Thank you so much. May I ask Sajda Bhai?
I would say you are the owner of your own thoughts. So any negative thoughts can be changed into positive. So once you think positive, you can even spread that love, care, positive thinking. And first, because you're managing yourself, you can even look after as many people as you have in the house, maybe the family or even the staffs. So manage yourself first, think positive, and spread that positiveness to everybody.
Thank you so much. You reminded me of our session on Monday, where our speaker Inayat Bhai said, be the garden of your thoughts. Yeah, do not let the weeds crop in. Thank you so much, Sajda Bhai. Sophia Bhai, can I ask you please to give your message?
Yeah. So I'd say the virus has left us with fears for health and safety. But at the same time, it has posed us an opportunity to pull together family and strengthen our bonds. I saw immense growth in our family bond. It was like a glue let loose. So it was amazing. Let's not be disheartened. Although with deaths like this, I would say again, I would stress again, it's hard. We need to grieve as family. I mean, let your grief take a natural course. Don't accelerate it, but don't also delay and hang on in there. Yeah. Know that you're not alone. Yeah. Have a will. Find the zeal to bounce back, and don't do it alone. Do it as family.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Don't do it alone. It's okay not to be okay, and reach out to your family members. And finally, I would ask Shabir Bhai to give the last message. Shabir Bhai?
Thank you, Shona. If you allow, I would like to share my learning and then the message. Is
Yes.
that okay? All right.
Yes.
So, but the greatest learning for me, honestly, and an eye-opener has been all this time, I had actually forgotten the reality, and I was busy paving the road for the family. So preparing the road for my family. COVID taught me actually that I need to prepare my family for any road. So that has been my greatest learning. That is not like typical Indian culture that I've inherited. You know, I'm preparing for my son. I would rather prepare my son for whatever comes. So that has been my greatest learning. And to the viewers, I would say in the end, it never matters what you wanted. What really matters is what you chose to do with what you had. Thank you.
Mashallah.
Awesome.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So now I would request our viewers, please send your questions, or if you want to speak, raise your hand and we'll take it up. Thank you so much. Okay, so okay, I don't see any questions.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Am I loud?
Yes, yes, please.
Thank you very much. I mean, this session was quite informative, and I can see these panelists are very well versed with this topic also. Some of them I can see have got their personal experiences, and we also would like to sympathize with them, of course. My question was, we have also been talking about dua and prayers in this country, Tanzania.
Yes.
That also helped us a lot. I didn't see any panelists mentioning that aspect of the thing that I'm sure did help a lot in pacifying us. I'm not saying it meant it disappeared the coronavirus, no, but I'm just saying that at least maybe give a lot of pacified.
Okay, so your voice was cutting off, but if I understand correctly, you said you didn't hear any of the panelists mentioning about faith. Am I correct? Hello?
That's what I meant.
Yes, okay. So who would you like to answer that question from the panelists? I will ask Shabir Bhai to please take up this question.
Or maybe.
Right. Thank you very much. It's Brother Fazl Abbas. Thank you very much. Okay. Basically, I think you missed the initial part whereby when I started, I clearly mentioned that spirituality was at epitome because we had a large family, so our Jamaat was bigger at home, although we did surely miss not going to mosque, but at home level, the du'as and everything were done more, and you could connect to your Lord more. And especially when I was discussing with someone, there was a clear context from a lady's point that I was not worried, I think in one of the earlier sessions that I heard, of what I'm wearing or who's judging me, but it was me and my Lord. And so, yes, COVID has brought us very closer to the Almighty because we have seen the reality of life and we have moved from autopilot mode of day-to-day life, whereby we think, materialistic things is what I am. And we have realized that what I am is actually my soul. The rest of the things are just for my comfort or my support to my journey towards the eternal abode. And I think also Sophie Bai mentioned it, and also Hasnain mentioned around du'as and spirituality. Thank you.
Yeah, I said about sabr and shukr. That was the
Yeah.
intention, but I think short of time, I missed out on some points.
Yeah, I hope that answers the question. That yes, dua does the miracles. It's magic.
Definitely.
Yeah, and finally, he is the best planner. So
Alhamdulillah.
we all have to revert to him. There's no choice. We belong to him. Yes.
Okay, any other questions? Yes, Gladys. Gladness?
Hello.
Hi, Glady. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for this session. And also thank you all the presenters. It is real, some of us, the situation at home during this COVID-19 is in almost most of the houses or families, it is not normal because it's a new thing to our families.
Thank you so much.
What I want to share, I don't have any question, but I just want to share what we have, and specifically, Madam Fatima asked about the situation in Tanzania. Then let me share with others that what I know. I'm not a spokesperson for Tanzania, but at least we have some data currently. as per the government statement, until on Monday, that is 1st June, spokesperson said that only 4 patients remained at the hospital. That is the real situation. But we know in Tanzania, there is no lockdown. People were working and we are still working, although on and off with precautions. What I believe, most of the patients were at home, and most of the treatment just done at home, and it is still doing at home by using natural foods such as ginger, garlic, lemon juice, etc., etc. That is a first aid medication most of our families used, and we are still using at home for any patients who shows any symptoms related to coronavirus. So that is the situation. And yes, due to that little number of patients, it is our belief that the situation will be calm, but we need to take precautions because still coronavirus is around us. So I would like just to share what I know on the situation of coronavirus in Tanzania, and specifically Dar es Salaam, because in our 26 regions, or more than 26 regions in Tanzania, Dar es Salaam is most affected than other parts of Tanzania. Thank you, Madam Shama.
Thank you so much, Gladys. And for those, just to introduce Gladys, she's heading the Crisis Resolving Center, CRC, in Dar es Salaam, and been a support to women who have are facing domestic violence and abusive relationships. She's doing tremendous work, and I'm looking forward to have a session with her sometime soon, inshallah. Thank you so much, Gladys. Okay, I see we do not have any questions, so I will go back to the panel, to my panelists, and if you would like to share more about how...
Shamabai, sorry, there is one more from Zakir Akbar Ali. He's raised his hand.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No, no problem. Okay.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Thank you very much for this session. I have one question, actually. I just would like to share one thing, and this is, I think it will go to Shabir Bhai. Everything was okay under the lockdown, but the only thing, the isolation, you miss so much your loved ones. And like my daughter, my grandkid, my grandchildren, and Shabir Bhai, from what he said, he has been in extended family. And he may have not noticed these things, but that's an important thing to be discussed. I would like Shabir to talk about it, please. Or and in that matter, any of the panelists who are on their own with not staying with an extended family. For me, that is even the most difficult part, even up to now. You miss your loved ones.
Thank you so much, Brother Zakir. Shabir Bhai, if you can answer to the question.
Okay, thank you for your question, Zakir. I do understand, and actually being in extended family, still this was a part, because some of our entities of our system, that means our sisters and brothers, or my cousins, which we grew up as brothers, so there's no cousins in my family, we are all brothers and sisters, they are far away, and especially one of them was in New York. So we have been worried, we have been missing them, we have been really thinking like, what next? Because like we all know, New York was one of the cities that was really going through tough time, and it's going till now. But the idea was, thanks to the gadgets and the Zoom and all these things. So we were keeping in constant touch. We could see, obviously, we are worried, but at least that connection of knowing that you are safe would tell us that we are safe. And because they were in lockdown, so sometimes it would go as to the extent of even showing you, look what I'm eating, you know, what are you eating or what are you doing? And that was keeping us physically apart, but soul with the soul very close to each other. So that was our solace, that, okay, we could see each other, we could communicate constantly. But yes, for sure, we have been worried about our entities that has not been with us in the system here. So I do understand and I do accept that it is, and it is human. It is actually human to feel that. It is human to feel that, to be worried about your loved ones. It is very human. And the idea is, what is in my control? So I don't know if you heard my last series, last talk on this was, what was in my control? If I go to circle of concern, which is beyond my control, I can't do anything. And he can't do anything. He can't come here. We can't go there. But what is in my control? In my control was, I could connect to him as often as possible. I could share good things with him. I could send positivity to him, and he would reciprocate the same. So that was in my control. So the thing is, as humans, we have to focus on what is on our control, what we can influence, but things which are out of our control, they just become concern for no reason. And we have to have faith on Almighty, that is the best planner, and spread positivity.
Thank you, Shabir Bhai. Can I ask Sophia Bhai, do you have anything that you would like to share with our viewers?
Yeah, thank you. So, yes, I would like to share on how I manage my mental health and be able to make the time for, despite the fear or the frustration with added responsibility. It was a time when we had very little domestic help. It was a time when the schedules were different. It was the holy month of Ramadan. So, you know, we have a very different schedule in the month, in the holy month. So some of the things I did for my own well-being and emotional care was to make some time for my self-care activities. So I love cooking. So I diverted my, well, it was, for me, it was like two birds with one stone, you know. It was a month where we had quite a elaborate cooking session. But no, I must be thankful. I had a very supportive family, and we did choose to go simple. But yeah, so cooking, I mean, doing it mindfully, yeah, that I'm doing this to relieve myself, not because I have to do it. So it helps to relieve that stress. I love reading. I do a reflection in my me time, journaling, praying. That was always there. For me time is to stay alone, but it's very important not to feel alone. When you're staying alone, for those of us who want to stay alone as me time, it's okay to be alone, but not to feel alone. I mean,
yeah.
So some people in such instances, some people want to be with people. Like the previous person who asked, I think maybe there's some people who look up to having people around when they're stressed. So yeah, it's important to know how you recuperate, how you de-stress, so you can make extra time. It's very daunting. It's, you know, I'll show you the flip side. Normally, when you're tending a person who is ailing, because of the way the person has to be accompanied all the time, it becomes very stressful. I mean, I recently lost my father-in-law, so just 6 months ago. So we had to make sure there is a routine that one person has to be there with him all the time. And that was also very taxing, despite we were so many in the family. But here, it's the flip side. Not to be able to be with the person in the final moments, would-be final moments, was taxing, was stressful. Yeah, so when it's really stressful, that's what I'm saying. So you need to be able to find the time to de-stress. and just switch off.
Thank you so much, Sophia Bai. It reminds me of you have to find time for yourself, self-care, and also be grateful for whatever we have at the moment. Go one day at a time, because there is something actually state are not in our control. Okay, so basically, even it is 10 minutes, 15 minutes or a day, but make sure that you do something that relieves your stress, so that you can, if you are stressed, you will not be able to look after others. Like Sajdabai said, if you have positivity, you will give positivity to others. You cannot give something that you don't have, basically. So take care of yourself so that you can take care of the people around you. Be compassionate with yourself. So thank you so much, Sophia Bai, for that. Can I ask Brother Hasnain if you have something more to tell our viewers?
I think my fellow panelists have covered most of the things.
Okay.
Again, what you mentioned, positivity is very important. Everyone has their own way of staying positive and coping with stress. But it's very important, again, I had stress on communication. When I was getting counsel for marriage, I was told communication, communication, communication. And I think that is important in every relationship, whether it is work relationships, home relationships, whatever it may be.
Yes.
I would really stress on communication.
Thank you so much. Sajda Bai?
I would say that just keep in touch with this COVID pandemic has opened everyone's eyes spiritually, got very connected to Almighty, as Shabir Bhai mentioned in my Ramzan. The du'as, amals was done collectively, and it was amazing. It was really nice. Never experienced, but it was really nice. You know, we always are rushing straight. Namaz padi lo, you know, iftar karine, you just go, you're going mosque. But this was different, and it was really nice doing it collectively with the family. We were all looking forward, and we got the habit, you know, you would always wait, okay, time take you dua and sit together, amal karo. Was really nice. And also connecting to the extended family. I've never connected, hardly connected to my cousins. Like, because everyone's busy in their life, but Zoom made it so possible.
Yes.
We had Zoom sessions. Yes. And again, my parents, they are in Nairobi. My mom's not well, my dad's there. So even they're alone. My brother is staying with them. And they wanted, you know, their daughters to call them. So I would try at least to give them a call. And sometimes we would be together in a group. So he would feel so much better. Even my mom, you know, they were all chatting together, talking together. So it was fun. In that way, we've never had a group chat, group talking, but it was really fun, and it made us all connected. And my son, who is away, I was really stressed because he was away, and I so wanted him to come back. And I was just connecting to the Almighty and closer to Imam Azam. I just told Allah that whatever it is, you know better. Yes. But I used to tell him, though I have my older one here, but I used to tell him that, you know, you are my energizer. So when I see your face, it energizes me. So then he would call me in the morning. I would just message me, call me, hi, mommy, now you're energized? I was like, yeah, I'm done. So in that way, the connection was there, the communication was there. So it really helps. So just be positive and everything will be wonderful.
Inshallah, inshallah. Thank you so much for that. So COVID is going to stay. Things have changed. They are not going to be the same again. So our message to all of you is hope with hope. And please do reach out to other people when it's okay not to be okay. Reach out when you need to. Have a positive mind. The day you don't have, connect with other people. So we are ending our session today. I would say thank you to all the panelists. Thank you so much for your contribution. Thank you, Muhammad Abbas, for being our IT guy at the back, making sure that everything is working well and everything is on time. Thank you so much for being always there for us. And thank you to my viewers. Thank you for connecting with us, giving us your precious time. I know it's 8 o'clock to 9, it's dinner time, and yet you found time to be with us. So thank you so much. God bless you. Stay well, be well, stay safe. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Thank you.